So I use that for measuring. I just need half a cup for bannock. So I melt that first. So I'll do that while we're on the stove, and then I'm gonna give Kari some instructions here. So, and I'll post the recipes after underneath the in the blog or with the video itself. So Kari, we need 3 cups of flour.
Okay.
If you want to start with that.
So we're cooking bannock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First thing is bannock.
Oven bannock.
Oven bannock.
And tell us if we need, this is like literally the first, and this ain't gonna be the last. Definitely gonna be doing more cooking shows. All your guys' comments and suggestions are more than welcome. If you think we need music or
Background or
stuff.
boom, boom, boom. We need 2 tablespoons of baking powder.
Yeah, maybe we should have some music.
Yeah, you could play it maybe on that side.
I'm like the messiest cook ever.
That's okay, we'll get this out. So there's 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar.
I'm not gonna try cook, I'm just gonna watch
And taste.
and taste after. So yeah, while we're cooking, we're gonna talk about what the hell's going on in this world right now with the coronavirus. Obviously, what's going on in the world right now is a shit show.
And 1 tablespoon of salt.
Everyone's kind of getting freaked out right now with the coronavirus. I just had to bring it up because obviously that's what's going on. Kari works at a school, I work at a school.
I work at a school.
She works at a school. Alberta just literally shut down schools. Manitoba did. We don't know what's going on in Saskatchewan yet. So I was literally going to have a podcast tonight about the coronavirus, but I figured, man, there's just so much going on with it. There's so much info that it's overbearing. So I figured, you know what, let's do a cooking show.
Make a well or just
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to cook.
So what, she's stirred everything together. Again, that's 3 cups of flour. That's what I start off with. 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of salt. And she's made a little well here, and right now I'm just heating up the butter. So what I'm doing is a lot of people use oil or lard and different things for their bannock. I choose butter. I got this recipe from a lady a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, on a food thing on Facebook, and it's really done me well. I like butter. I like that it just comes from an animal, and I know it's traceable and all that kind of stuff, so I appreciate that. Sometimes some of the things that you hear about canola, you know, and all the pesticides and things that are used from farmers and things like that, and I know the cows eat it too, but at least it's going through their digestive system and maybe filtered a little bit through their bodies. So here, again, I'm melting butter, half a cup of butter, and then I'm going to add some milk to it, so 2 cups of milk. Just warm it up. Well, I would. I normally did, but because I make bannock so much, people are like, oh, you know. Yeah. But 2 cups of milk and then a little bit of water. I'm going to add to it too as well. And then we're just going to pour that inside the well. Sorry. And give it a good stir.
So you don't measure?
Oh, I do. I measured everything.
What
Just
you?
not the milk.
I thought you said I cooked so much.
I can use my hand. Just the milk I eyeball because I use this pan all the
if people
time.
are lactose, can they use something else?
Just water. You can go straight water. If you want to make it vegan without vegan, well, you could use canola oil and just water. So instead of because I have butter, which is an animal product. Yeah. So go all the way around the sides. You want to and just do big motions. Go all the way. Okay. Yeah. And see how see that little action that's going on in there. That's the science of baking powder and liquids, warm liquids. So that's a good sign that your baking powder is still active. And another way to test it is to just put some boiling water on top of your baking powder if you're not sure. I know one of my friends was asking that question today. So make sure you get all the way to the bottom because you don't want to have little clumps of flour. And so just like that, that's good. Good. It's all good. Yeah, just right on. So this is how it looks. And my secret is that gluten and baking powder, they're doing a scientific reaction right now with the liquid, and so it needs time to work its magic and get soft. So gluten takes 20 minutes to, you know, and can sit for till the next day or the day after, even when people make bread, but I would put it in the fridge after a couple hours. So I'll just cover this, and I'll put it aside and just let it rest and do all its little thing, rise. And you know, like when you make bread, you know, people knead it and then they come back and they'll knead it again. We don't have to do that for bannock, because this is a fast mixing thing, but we want to be able to let it do its magic, get soft and stringy and pliable.
Okay, so how long are you gonna let this sit?
This is gonna sit for half an hour, but for today, because I made some bannock before we started, so I have some ready mixed here already for you to be able to put together here. So I'm just going to cover this up.
And do I need my gloves for this bannock part?
I use gloves because, especially right now, you know, like of course we're trying to make it light, but I mean there is an epidemic going on right now, so let's use gloves tonight so that, you know, anytime we touch ourselves by accident or whatever, hopefully it's not going to come in here. So my bannock's been sitting for a while here, the dough, and you can see all the bubbles from the baking powder and the air releasing and things like that. So, and can you smell it?
I can smell it.
Yeah? Okay. So we're going to add some more flour into there.
Okay,
I'm going to get you a little, let's do a cup at a time, or we'll do a cup first and then we'll go in a half, because you kind of want to make bannock so you don't have a whole bunch of flour left over, right? So we'll go with 1 cup and we'll do a good mix here. So you can just, yeah. There you go.
So I've never made oven bannock before in my life.
Really?
Grease bannock I can do, but oven bannock, never.
And see, my grease bannock that I make, I just omit the butter. So my recipe is exactly the same, and the steps are exactly the same. I warm up the milk without butter, and then I let the bannock, the dough stand for a while, and then I do a mix here. So
do I get my hands in there or add more
yeah,
flour?
you can, and I'll help you with some flour till we get. So you want to be able to pick up everything from the sides, like scrape the edges so you get all those, get all that rest of that flour used up.
Okay.
And that should be good. Now you can just work it together. So this is a little bit of the kneading process. We don't have to do it for very long, but you want to make sure that all your flour is mixed in and that it's pliable and not sticking to you. So we need a little bit more flour. You can use 2 hands and I'll hold the bowl for you. That way it'll go a little faster. But I've been making bannock for, well, probably since I was about 16, which is definitely close to 30 years nowadays. And you feel how soft it is?
Yeah, it's still kind of sticky though.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So this is a recipe for just with 5 cups of flour. And what this will make enough bannock for 5 to 7 people, depending on the eaters and stuff like that. We have 3 here and 2 more that are behind the scenes. So,
So how long you been doing this?
I've been cooking like myself since I was like 5 or 6. But I mean bannock making since I was 16. So
How long have you been doing your catering?
Catering and food booths and different things, almost 10 years.
Did you do private cooking classes?
I do private cooking classes.
If you guys want to get a hold of her, I'm going to tag her after on this live video. If you guys want to learn how to cook, what do you teach cooking? What do you teach?
Well, we can do bannock making. I have wild rice. I make jams. I do freezer meals. So if you want to make a, you know, if you live on a budget, you know, if you have clients with CFS or different kinds of things like that need to learn how to, you know, budget their money, any children aging out of Child and Family Services, then what we can do is have a class and then and talk to them. We can go shopping. We can plan out all the meals that we want to make. They can plan it for themselves. Like we'll have 10 dishes and say, okay, this is the stuff, the ingredients we need, and we can make freezer meals, and they'll have food like 22 meals for the whole month.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's a few different things, options that can happen. I also do catering and then events and different things like that. I work at Nutana Collegiate right now and feed kids.
You know what
Yeah.
would be awesome?
Yeah,
Is
it's
cooking
good.
moose meat, deer meat, buffalo, elk, and doing a show about that, and all the different stuff you could. Well, I guess different ways you can cook it, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, like you know,
Like you
there's-
can. I don't know. You tell me what you can cook out of all that.
Well, and I mean when you
As a roast.
no, we're just all we're gonna do is just kind of pat it. You might want a little bit more flour just on your hands. Just dust your hands like this because we don't want to have it all. It'll burn on the pan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you just want to kind of make it, shape it and make it into a ball here or flatten it out. And we don't want to go too far down because then your bannoc's real thin and you know, like a lot of people think you have to knead for like 10-15 minutes. That's not true if you give it time. If you give the bannock time, like you see how soft that is and how much it moves and stuff. As long as it's got the time factor in it, then it'll be fine for having to knead forever and ever.
Okay. Do we poke holes in it with
Yep.
a fork?
Yes, we do.
Lead
That
Rocks.
I remember.
So,
Lead Rock Salad asked the question: if they did it, would anyone be buying? I don't know if it's talking about our cooking here or what you guys are talking about.
buying what?
Maybe you guys mentioned something about selling something.
Oh,
Did you guys mention selling something?
I don't think so.
Lead Rock, what are you talking about? Talk to us.
yeah.
Talk to us.
Let us know what you mean about what you're buying. So, yeah, we'll get rid of all of this after that. But
And
so,
you guys, hold on, sorry. I want to give a shout out to these two for actually trying it. I've never seen one of these done on live. Like we're just amateurs with with the phone set up and everything, and just literally trying to bring something cool to the viewers. I know usually I just podcast and stuff, so I figured this would be cool. So
a little more interactive
Yeah.
and definitely, like we can teach you something. Maybe you can send us some tips and,
We
like
need a bigger
get to
kitchen
know
next
each
time.
other. Oh yeah, like this is my little apartment for now. So
this was like last minute today kind of
Like
thing.
1
Like
o'clock
yeah,
today.
so it's like
get
let's
out
go
of
do
bed,
one.
let's do this, right? And so anyways, I have my oven set at 430 degrees. And the bannoc's gonna go in like that. The holes are poked in there, and my tray is clean. I use a really nice scrubbing thing. I set it at the bottom, and I cook it for 15 minutes at 430 degrees, and then I'm going to move it to the top rack and broil the top so that it browns nicely for 2 minutes. So I'm just gonna set the timer here.
So these need to be wiped?
Yeah, just rinse off and yeah. So bannock can be controversial at times. It's not the healthiest option in a meal thing, but everybody eats bread, and then some families they eat it every day. Sometimes it's a treat, and I definitely would say that was the better option because it's not a very good. It can raise your sugars very high if you're diabetic. And it's flour, it's sugar, it's salt, all the things that they ask you to avoid, and make sure that if you want to live a healthy lifestyle in a long time, is to do everything in moderation. And our elders have taught us that, and we just want to make sure that we're presenting that. And bannock wasn't always a part of our meal, but it's definitely been a part of our framework and food since the treaties were made.
Okay, so what are we making next, Glenn?
Okay, so we're gonna move on to some jam here. Okay,
Oops, sorry.
we're gonna get the jam going.
Jam.
Some jam.
Jam.
So what I have here in this little bag is a
Put on your Facebook on here so we can see that.
My battery or battery?
What was it?
inside here I have some wild mint that I bought from Neepsy, Nicole and Ed Standinghorn and Sweetgrass. So this wild mint, and then I also, you want to show it on the cam? And then I just use this bag so it's not pieces and stuff like that in your teeth. And then I have a little sagebrush And so I just leave it whole. I buy this at the grocery store. It's, you know, $2-3 depending. Comes in a little box in the food aisle. But the wild mint is hand-picked by Neepsey Herbs and sold. And what this is really good for, like mint is good for muscle spasms if you're working out and things like that, to drink it.
So
of course,
this is going in the jam?
This is going in the jam, yeah. So it's going to, you know, add
Mint
some medicine.
jam.
Sage, mint, blueberry, and Saskatoon jam. So that's what we're going to make right now. And so this is good for PMS.
PMS, hey.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
you know, all the things like that. If you have some stomach troubles, you know, to try and calm, and it's really good. It's like I make hot water and I mix applesauce and wild mint in there, and sometimes some cranberry sauce, and you know, it makes a little like a cider thing, and kids really love it. You know, if you have things like that, you can add fruit to it, and they'll have something to drink. You know, and it's a little treat.
We got with
So anyways, wild mint.
hold on, Leduc
sage.
there said something about gloves. He said their body. He said get the blue one.
Get the blue ones.
Why?
Oh.
What does it matter?
You can donate.
All right, these are vinyl gloves.
Hey man, we just did this real quick.
Yeah, these are the
We're
ones I
trying.
use for cooking
Relax.
all the time. So,
Relax.
yeah. And
We got this.
we all washed our hands
we're the
before
only
we
ones eating
start.
this right now. So we get corona, we die. No.
So I'm going to use some blueberries and some I don't have any
Should've told me to
blueberries
bring-
here.
I had a whole bag of blueberries.
Do you that
Yeah,
are
like-
picked?
Pick berries.
I'm out here at the house, at my apartment. I don't have much room here to keep food. But anyways, I'm going to use 3 cups of blueberries. I guess I could let you do that.
And
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
do
helping because there's literally no room. So I'm just kind of standing here chatting and letting Glenna and Kari do her thing. And how you doing, Kari? How do you like it so far? How do you like
it.
having the camera on you? You don't even notice it after like 2 minutes, eh?
Yeah, kind of.
And if you guys ever want to be on the show, if you ever want to invite me to come and do something like this, or if you got something you want to showcase, inbox me on the page. I'll go anywhere in Saskatchewan. But if you guys do want to have it live, I do need really, really good Wi-Fi. Anything like 10 Mbps and
Yep.
faster. I really want to get out there and start showcasing Indigenous success, whether it be cooking. I know Lance Albert does his hunting. I'd like to maybe do a skin of deer or skin of moose or something live. Anything like just anything Indigenous people do that we should showcase. So let me know. Inbox me. I'll travel.
And where did you learn how to make this?
This is something that I just did for myself.
Oh.
So this is my own recipe. We always pick berries. My granny used to take us. My mom. I've gone. The last thing I did was choke cherries in the fall, and so I have lots of those. About 28 gallons of that. And so what I do is there's 3 cups of blueberries and 2 cups of Saskatoons, and I'm being cheap with my Saskatoons because it's almost the end of the season and I don't have any more hand-picked. But anyways, the wild mint and the sage are in there, and I'm just going to put this on the stove and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. So let the flavors get mixed together, right? And
So
get the
obviously
berry
you don't,
soft.
we obviously don't eat that, eh? The whole thing, or?
Sage, well, no, I mean, it's edible. Like, they grind it and they put it in recipes and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I'm sure you can eat it. Like, sage is a cleaner, so boiling it and having it going in your house is something that will clarify the air. Yeah, it'll clarify the air. It goes into your immune system through your breathing and different things like that. So there's a lot of activation and different things. So if you're going to use herbs, I would say try and get fresh herbs or hand-picked. And there's lots of places to do that, or do it on your own, right? So I'm just going to put this here on the stove.
My mom does all the berry picking, and a lot of those berries from her.
Okay.
So this is just store-bought.
This is store-bought sage, yeah.
Can you just literally go pick this up somewhere? And
Yeah, I got this.
in a bush. We're not talking about the sage we pick up, is it?
Oh, well, and I mean, if you know what sage is and where to get it, I mean, of course, go pick it yourself, right? This is probably grown in a factory or in a, what do you call that, under hydroponics and different stuff indoors, so it won't have all the same kind of vitamins you would get in from the ground, right? Like from the ground mud and all that kind of thing. So that's why when we talk about stuff like organic and how, you know, like people go pick stuff and it's way up north, or it's not getting all the toxins that we have in here in the city, like the pollutants from vehicles and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, if you're really conscious, or if you have some real immune deficiency disorders, or if you have cancer and things like that, that's when you would start thinking about organic foods and where everything's coming from. Yeah. So, all right.
What's next?
So
get a garden going on.
Yeah,
if you
grow
can
your
get
own.
a garden. A garden. And the gardens are not hard to make. Like, man, if you're living on the res, you got all the space in the world. And
This is done?
Yeah, that's done. We'll get that.
I know my buddy Rocky Baptiste started a garden, and he started it where his horses used to roam, so he had all that nice manure, all that beautiful dirt mixed in with the manure, and then his garden the first year, he grew everything, and it was just massive because it was so much nutrient in there. If you guys can get an old field where cows used to graze or something, that'd be a perfect place to
Yes.
do a garden.
And it's always a learning experience. He says it's not hard, but it's actually very laborious work, and you have
It is. I can't laugh. But hey,
it's rewarding.
I've never gardened before, and until like 5 years ago, I started helping my mom, and yeah, it is hard work because you're always weeding. But have you ever had a meal straight, everything from the garden?
Yes, I have.
It's one of the greatest meals you'll ever have in your life because everything, it's got that fresh.
It's like tasting the sun. If you've ever eaten something off of a tree, like berries or anything like that, or had fresh tomatoes in your yard and stuff like that, there's just so much flavor compared to what, you know, the time from the farmers' tables, from the farmers' yards into the kitchens. You know, like a lot of our stuff comes from California and Mexico and all over the world, really. So by the time it gets here, it's been being shipped for 3 to 10 days sometimes. So I mean, think about pineapples and all our fruits, but how much better they are when they come right off. So we're going to do some chopping here, and that's to get ready for our mac and cheese dish. But I'm going to show you a few things here because I'm going to start our soup. So, and you said you never tasted wild rice before?
I've never tasted wild rice.
Okay.
Really? Holy.
So this wild rice comes from my homelands in Treaty 1 territory. Picked over there, and I buy it by 5 and 10 pound boxes.
They actually grow it up in the Shambo area, eh?
Yeah, it's and of course wild rice is not actually a rice. A lot of you may know that this is grass, and but it grows inside the water on lake beds and close to the shore and stuff like that. And to pick it, they use canoes, and in the old days we used to go on canoes, and there would be somebody you know, paddling, and another person that was called the banger, and they would hit the branches and stuff, and the rice falls right into the canoe. So till the canoe was almost sinking, you were out there on the water, and then you come back and you dump it, and there'd be other people, you know, because it's got to be fireproof, so it has to be dried and everything like that. So there's a fire going and there's things happening, you know, it's got to get cleaned and then processed and things. So but anyways, once it's here, this is how it looks. And if you want to taste a little bit, since you haven't before, there's no salt, so you can just eat it by yourself, but maybe you can take a little less unless you.
So good, eh?
But it's nutty, you know, it has a different kind of flavor. This is.
It almost tastes like smoked or something.
Yeah, well, because it is fireproof, right? So they have to use a open flame usually to get it going. So that's just with salted water, of course.
So you brought this from
Manitoba, from Treaty 1 territory, yeah.
How do you say yours again?
Seguin First Nation. So this is picked
home
in
of
the
those
Winnipeg River.
tap dancers.
Yes, Seguin's finest.
Seguin's finest. Wow.
So I'm going to use half of this rice and save some of it for the rest of the week, but I'm going to make a chicken and wild rice soup. How I start my soups is, this is called, they call it the Holy Trinity or the trifecta of vegetables, and that's chopped carrots and celery and onion, and I'm going to just fry that in my pan over here for a little bit and get it soft.
What's all in here?
This is just carrots, celery, and onion.
Okay.
So
Chopped real
It's chopped up, yeah. So there's like 2 cups of chopped carrots and 2 cups of chopped celery, and then 1 cup of chopped onion. And I did that before the show just to save some time and get us on the roll, but we got some other things to do here that we'll be prepping while this is cooking. Yes.
I'm cutting these peppers. Hey, do you want me to start with these?
Yeah. Do you want me to show you a little way, or do you want you?
Just show me how you want them cut. And
Okay, so you cut the ends off. Now cut it in half. You want some more? Are you using a clean one? Are you using a clean one?
It's just like a green pepper.
Yeah. So you can either cut it out or you can just pull out this stuff and see it. The spice is always in these little seeds, right? You'll notice that if you remove the seeds, it's a way more palatable or easier to eat for everybody in the family. If you like the seeds, you could keep them in. I'm not one of the seed eaters, and I have some people with some stomach issues that live with me, so we try and be light on them. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So you can cut it in half and then just slice it into small slices. So what we're going to use the jalapeno, jalapeno for is we are going to make macaroni and cheese, which is a really easy dish. You need milk, you need butter, you need a little bit of flour, you need some macaroni, and what we do with that, and then I'm going to jazz it up a little bit here since we're home and I'm trying to impress my friends and you, is we're going to add some bacon and jalapeno into it as well. So I've already pre-cooked the bacon. You can chop it before if you like. I don't like this knife. And
sorry, I'm so good knife.
That's okay. No. And then this is for our mac and cheese again, and we are. Do you do a lot of cooking, Kari, at home?
I do. I love to cook.
Right on. And yeah. Do you get your kids involved quite a bit?
Sometimes I'm not into it that much, actually.
Yeah. Mine too. Like, they find it a little bit more of a task at times, but eventually they kind of go, okay, well, I use it as teaching moments and stuff. And of course, my kids are all adults now, and but I still love doing it, and I've showed them multiple times different kinds of things and stuff like that. And so anyways, there's our bacon.
Okay. Am I cutting all 3 of these up?
I think just 2 of them is good. Yeah. Can you turn the music down just a little? It's just a little distracting on the side here. Thanks, Nathan.
I'm like the slowest chopper ever.
No, that's how you learn. And I mean, everything looks pretty uniform, like I'm never going to complain about help. Or I learned to not complain about help because all of a sudden you don't have any.
I hope there's no latex with these peppers here. Am I
latex? No. Or fingers.
I came up like chopping my finger here.
Let me give these a little bit of a stir here. I legit never cooked with peppers like these before. Really? No. The jalapeno peppers are, of course, from Mexico, so they're used in Mexican food, and I mean they're native to this side of the continent as well. So I like to incorporate some things from all over. Everything I cook isn't always indigenous. It's more of a mixture of things that I've learned and read over the years or tasted at restaurants and things like that. So you're doing great. Don't cut yourself.
My glove is.
You can change gloves next after that. Wash up.
I think I got it good. Okay, and where do you want these peppers in this glass bowl?
Sure, you can use that one. Yeah. Oh, so there's our buzzer for our bannock, and we're gonna switch that around here a little bit. So there's the bannock right now before we brown the top, and so look at that, you did a great job.
Ooh, exciting!
Looks like bannock. So I'm gonna move that to the top shelf and switch my oven to a broil. and do that for 2 to 3 minutes.
We lost Kari.
Zoom.
She's back. So how's it going?
It's going well.
I need to get the camera on that side over there. What are we cutting over here now? Anything?
We're almost done with the cutting. Again, the jam is on, but we're gonna do some mixing for the, so we can switch the camera angles if you like. But, so my jam is getting steamy. Can you smell it? I can smell the steam.
Oh my God.
So
wow.
it's real, it has a real distinct smell and taste and flavor. And so we're just
Only
letting
you
that
guys
take
can
that.
literally smell that. You smell the sage, blueberry, Saskatoons. What else you got in there? And the mint. All in one. It's like, it all works. Look at me, I sound like I know what I'm talking about. But it smells good. So that's going to be part of your jam?
Yeah. Oh no, this stuff is for the macaroni and cheese. That is the jam, yeah.
Oh, that is the jam.
That is the jam right there. So I'm going to give you this, and you're going to actually...
So that's blueberry, I was going to say strawberry, blueberry,
And how much do you want
Saskatoons,
Sage.
mint, and sage.
Mint and sage, yeah.
And you boil it for how long?
For about 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how much time you
You
have.
don't put water in there?
No,
you
no.
just boil it as
Just
is?
let all the juices come in.
High heat, medium heat?
Medium heat, just let it boil and cook, and it doesn't take long for berries to cook, but you want the flavors from the sage and the mint to get inside everything and to cook a little bit too with it. So you can just take that plastic right off.
Do you want me to like?
Yeah, because you're gonna shred. Yeah, because we're gonna make macaroni and cheese. So
We're gonna need lots of cheese.
yeah.
Okay.
So it has a real. I use old cheddar when I'm making macaroni and cheese just to get some flavor. You can use any kinds of multiple ones, even jalapeno cheddar or different things like that. Whatever you feel, whatever kind of cheeses you like. But the old cheddar gives an extra added flavor. So you don't want to be, you don't want it to be too bland.
So do you put cheese whiz in your mac and cheese, or you're just using this
Look at that.
cheese?
Almost too long, but it's looking pretty good here. See? There's our bannock is done. I'm gonna put this over here to cool. And so we're gonna have we need 2 cups of cheese, need some milk, again flour and butter. So I'm gonna pull out these for the recipe. And
Holy man, I'm hot in here now.
are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably open the window a little bit. But Nathan, if you want to come chat for a little bit, and I'll get some stuff together here and make sure we're ready to go again.
And you could open the window too, please.
I'll do that.
So the while you guys are watching, this lady here, we're going to do
Oh my god.
a
arm is
teacher. I would do it, my hands are dirty.
so- You can use my gloves.
No. The guy said the blue gloves work the best. I'm going to take this guy on it. But while we're waiting for Glenna to do whatever she's going to do, oh, it smells so good in here. Just like you got the wild rice, you got the blueberries, the sage, the mint,
The celery.
celery,
Bannock.
the bannock. Anyway, Kari, and hopefully the other guests we did have. I'm hoping there's 2 of them there that will host another podcast. I don't know which night. I'm going to be doing my own personal podcast Mondays and Thursdays at 7, possibly the weekends. I'm going to get Kari in there teaching Indigenous education. That's going to be her, what do we call it? It's going to be called IOPPS.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess short for Teacher Indigenous Opportunities. I don't know. We just came up with a name. We were at,
I came up with
she came up with a name. We were at Think Indigenous and, yeah,
practicing.
practicing. Yeah, so the conference got shut down because of, that's when everything in the whole world kind of just started going crazy with the coronavirus and stuff. Kari's on, you guys are on lockdown or not lockdown? Quarantine for 2 weeks?
Self-isolation.
Self-isolation.
Which I'm not doing right now.
Shh. Hey, it's the weekend. It doesn't matter. But
But
yeah.
I've been at home.
With all that coronavirus thing, and
I'm just gonna
am I in the
pull
way
this
now?
off. No, you can stay where you
With
are.
all the coronavirus and all the, you know, just everything shutting down, and all that, it's kind of nice to do this right now because for like the last 3 days, no, since Friday, no, since probably Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and today, it's all you've been hearing is Corona, and it kind of makes you want to have a beer, but that's all you hear is Corona, right? But
so do you lie this like on the side? Like
Yeah.
I've always seen people put it on the side.
Yeah, we're gonna put it on the side. I actually have cookie tray set up over there, so which means it has an air underneath flowing through it because you want it to cool, or else it'll sweat if you put it in a bag or do anything like that. Right now, you don't want to wrap it. If you do have to wrap it quick, then I would suggest that you use a paper towel, you know, so that it doesn't get wet or soggy and things like that while you're transporting it or taking it to a feast or wherever you're gonna go. Don't touch that yet.
so when it sweats, does it get soggy under there, like soggy?
Oh
bread?
yeah, it'll get soggy and it won't feel right. It won't take, you know. So you want to be able to take it off the pan right away and try and cool it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go put this on the cookie tray.
Actually, speaking of Bannock, I'm gonna be doing a podcast. You're actually gonna be there now.
Oh.
Now that you're in the show, Rachel. How do you say? I can't know.
Rachel Ray?
No.
Oh.
Rachel, she's with Bannock Express. She's actually opening up a store. I don't know. It's supposed to be on the 23rd. I don't know if that's a go now, just because of what's going on, like I said. But she will be doing a show strictly, I think, on Bannock and Bannock Burgers, cooking for you guys, just showing what she's going to be making in her store. A lot of you out there have had it. Anyone that's not from Saskatchewan, Bannock Express, I guess, has been around for a little bit. Do you know who we're talking about?
I think about 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years probably about, and beautiful, beautiful food. I've actually had some of her food before, so we're going to get her on the show. We're going to actually be in her store, cooking in a bigger kitchen than this, and we're not, you know. But like I said, this is our first time. This is trial and error. The next one, I'm going to have more camera angles, and it's going to be better. And but this is still fun. It's fun just kind of going with it and see what happens. Like I said, man, I just hope you guys are enjoying it and trying out something new, learning more about Glenna and her jam. What do you call that jam?
It's just.
You got to give it a name.
I don't.
This is officially called IOPPS Jam. Okay?
Yay.
So if you ever want to know what IOPPS Jam is, I was going to say butter.
Butter?
Blueberry, Saskatoon, sage, and mint.
And we're gonna add a little bit of sugar.
And sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's like when you're coming out of the sweat there and you're just like, and you eat the blueberries and anyway.
I can legit just smell that.
Yeah, it's so good.
So it can be eaten like this. Like this
Can we
is
call
what
it IOPPS?
you can call it that for today. So if
She's
you
like, piss off for not calling that today. I thought.
so we can call it anything you like today. But anyways, I would take this just like it is to the feast without sugar or anything like that, any additives. But if you want to make it into a consistency of jam, then we are going to add some sugar, and we're also going to add my little fridge jam chick, and that's an old one. This is old school stuff. Is just some Jello, which has gelatin in it, and it'll cause it to hold together and create that jam
Like that
feeling when you
nice-
spread with the spread on there, right? So we're gonna remove the sage and the mint. So there's my little mint bag.
So what do you do with that after?
Not too much actually. Like
Throw it away, or can you use it for anything else?
you can compost this, like everything.
Or can you like use it for anything else?
you could reuse it. I mean, to make jam again. Like I would freeze it.
Freeze it.
Yeah,
So there you go. You can freeze this.
Refreeze it and use it again because it's not, fully utilized at this point.
Yeah.
So our it still smells great. It could be added to other things to cook, of course. And so she's gonna put some. I use lemon Jello, so you can throw that in there. The whole package, yeah. And then we're gonna put a little bit of sugar.
So how come you don't use like a raspberry or a berry?
I think just for that little bit of zing, you know, like I have some lemon here too, so we can grate some lemon rinds in there, and that'll give us a little bit of texture and flavor and stuff like that. So, you know, you can pretty much do anything you want, especially when you're at home and you have the freedom to do things like that, right? So, you can add lemon in there, you know, if you want to keep it without the gelatin and stuff like that. If you want to add lemon in, cranberry sauce, you know, will also give it a little bit of flavor. But, you know, old style marmalade, yeah, if you want maybe, oh, this is dirty now, wait. Yeah. I'm just trying to find a grinder. We can add that after, so we'll, yeah. So I'm going to move that into a bowl and put that in the fridge and let it cool off a little bit. Did they get a good visual of it?
Show the camera straight ahead.
Okay.
Not this one, this one.
You want to show them? Right there. So that's how it looks right now. It's just nice and steamy. You know, like, so it's gonna, when that gelatin cools off, it's gonna make, it's gonna congeal it together. We can mash it a little bit so it goes a little bit further. There you go.
I have never made jam before either.
Now this isn't the jam. You wouldn't use this recipe for canning. You would actually buy pectin and go through. There's a few different steps for that. And of course you would make a lot more if you were going to can it and stuff and keep it for the winter. But since we're just making it, and this is my fridge jam, so something that I'll just have in the fridge, something we'll make with bannock and use over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so you guys want to have a taste before we put it away?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And how mushy do you want it?
Well, just enough to breaks up some of the berries, right? Like the blueberries are quite large with the cultivated kind, but here you go, Nathan.
Oh my god.
IOPPS?
Oh, man.
IOPPS?
Yeah.
IOPPS jam.
Wow. Wow, is that ever good? That's really good.
And just powerful flavors, and you know, not too much, not too sugary and stuff like that. But
You can't even taste the mint or the sage. Like, all I can taste is berry.
yeah, it'll take a little bit, and I guess you know, it'll all mix in. But it's you can taste it in the first. I can taste it in the first bit,
Yeah.
but berry after. Yeah, definitely full of berry.
That taste was good. I wish you guys could taste that. That tastes
Right?
so.
Here we are on
I don't know
Tate
how to-
Crescent.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be isolated or kind of isolating ourselves.
Isolated
but-
in a tiny little cookie. Look, literally how big it is. This is probably like 8 by 8.
Yeah,
Like,
if
really
that.
tiny little
This is-
space we're working in.
There is more space on the other side. It's just that it's all carpeting, so it's not really.
But that, you know what? Just showing a little tiny space we're in. That if you guys ever want to try something like this, please do. If you guys want to do your own cooking show, I'd love to watch. Send me the link, and then I could show everyone. And it's all about. It's all about. It's all about us sharing ideas, sharing what we do. You know how Indigenous people succeed, and all that other good stuff.
Yeah. So yesterday, and this is how you can prepare things ahead of time. Is last night we had roast chicken for supper, and so I have put that away and cooled it off and put it in the fridge overnight. And so we have our vegetables here. It looks like they're a little bit burnt and everything, but that's just gonna give color, you know, like to the soup itself and everything like that. So I browned it up pretty good. It's and it's gonna add some nice flavor. But
Do we need this anymore?
no, not right now. And
Do you want me
so
to cut that up, or you're just gonna leave it up?
yeah. Well, we don't have to cut it up because we don't have anything clean. But you can. I'll give you
Chop
new
it up?
gloves. You can take those off, and we'll give you new ones.
See, we're practicing good hygiene here, cleanliness. That's why I'm not touching anything. My hands are pretty dirty.
So, and we don't even have to use it all. I'll put some aside here for a sandwich for my boy or whatever. He's got to go to work tomorrow. So, you know, there's lots of ways to use it.
You said your boy is, what does he do?
My son went to school in, well, he works at the casino now in surveillance, but he is a video game designer and has 3D animation training from Vancouver.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like, right away I was like, man, you got to be on my podcast, and so that was pretty cool. So stay tuned for a future podcast with video game designer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a guy can obviously design video games.
Makes video games. Like, it was something that he always did. That was his dream. Like, he was always on a game. He had some eye problems, couldn't play sports after into high school and things like that because of his peripheral vision.
Yeah.
So he really got into the gaming. I put him in a high school in Winnipeg where they fed themselves right into film school and video game school in Vancouver. And so that's where he lived for 3 years, and now he's back here in Saskatchewan for a little while with just tending to family matters. And so we're here, and so anyways, we're breaking up this chicken. We're going to use whatever we can pull off this bird. There's lots of
fat.
Yeah, we are going to put this in there.
All of it?
All of it, yeah. So I saved everything that was cooking in there, and there's all this little gelatin bits that's like from the fat and stuff like that, and that comes from the bones of the chicken when you're boiling it or cooking it. And I slow cook this. And so what we do, what it does is it adds a lot of flavor. It has like sage and poultry seasoning and garlic and salt and pepper already inside there, so it's going to help with the flavoring. So again, I roasted this chicken yesterday and put it in the fridge, and it's got multiple uses. And that's the way that I cook for, you know, like I plan meals so that they you know flow into each other here at home, especially when I was a single mom for many years, and I, you know, had two growing boys that were, you know, 6 foot tall, and I needed to feed them, so I had to find ways to make everything stretch, and then I also had to find ways to make things easier. You can buy these chickens cooked too at the stores, right? They charge $10 or whatever here in the city.
So when you were a single mom, did you do this on the side to make money? Did you bake for people?
I did. I actually I would bake bannock. I would, you know, do I do stuffed bannock. So I'll put like buffalo chicken and rice and shepherd's pie inside fry bread and fry it up, and then it makes this pretty deadly meal. You know, hot dogs, different things like that. So my friends in North Battleford helped me out quite a bit with those kinds of things. We'd do sales. I'd take a day off work, or I'd be scheduled off, and, you know, I would do this kind of stuff so that I could, you know, afford sports, so I could afford, you know, music lessons and traveling and taking my boys on things, right? Because
basically where there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly.
There's no excuses. I think, you know, if we all put our minds to it, like literally even when you're under res, you know, there's so many things I believe that we can make money with, like a lot of stuff online. Mm-hmm. You know, that's where the world is right now. So, I mean, if you can figure that scene out. Well,
and I mean, you just look at some of the businesses that, you know, are in the area. Like, I'll just use Neepsy, who I got the wild mint from. They go and they handpick that stuff.
Yeah.
There's no fee. There's no cost. You just walk out in the bush and you grab something and you create it. You know, if you're a woodworker, or if you know, like, and for me it was cooking. So I would just say, you know, people would come over and eat, or I'd take something to someone and they were like, this is really good. Would you be able to make it for a lunch for us?
Yeah.
And that's how it kind of rolled into it. And, you know, like I had a business in Winnipeg for multiple years, and you know, sometimes just as a personal chef, but I mean, President Trudeau ate his first fry bread taco from me, you know. Prime Minister.
Not in America.
So President Trudeau. Did I say that? That's hilarious. So, but
what was that?
So we're gonna have fun here today. So again, we have the vegetables, we have the chicken, and now we're gonna add some of this wild rice.
Guys.
About 2 weeks. Watch your hair.
That was
I have to watch it.
Kari is like her new saying. She said, "Oh, I just want to say that all the time. That's gonna be like my thing." Hey guys. So if you guys ever hear Kari saying that in the future,
Or if you ever see me in public.
where did that come from anyway?
It comes from YouTube. Hello.
From who though?
Everybody who does like makeup channels or whatever.
Hey guys.
Oh yeah, I guess
Hi,
that's what they
guys.
say at the beginning.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
So this was 2 cups of wild rice that I cooked it in 6 cups of water, pre-cooked it. Yeah, and we're just gonna add some water to that
Oh, that
after.
looks
But
so
anyways, so the wild rice, I'm saving some of that for another meal tomorrow or the next day because we're gonna have so much food here. But we are definitely gonna add some water now, and we're gonna put that back on the stove in just a couple minutes. So if you want to do 3 more of those,
Okay.
so.
Hot water doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter right now, no. So like I said, the chicken was already pre-cooked and seasoned, so I'm not going to add a whole bunch more of seasoning, but my favorite is bay leaves for soup. It always gives such a nice flavor and helps boost all the other flavors that are in your food.
When do you use thyme?
Thyme, you could
Thyme.
use.
Is it thyme or
Yeah.
thyme? I thought it was thyme.
Thyme, yeah, it's called thyme. So we're gonna use a little bit of sage, and I'm gonna put a little bit of sage in there
So
again.
sage is the new winner. Is sage and garlic a good mix?
Yes, actually, they are pretty good. You know,
Are they?
tarragon. So thyme and tarragon. Thyme could be used on white meats like this, but it can also be used like on buffalo or deer and stuff like that. And sage as well can be mixed in. I see a lot of cooks using sweetgrass now and tobacco, naturally made tobacco and
Really?
sage
While they cook?
while they're cooking. And so, I mean, using our medicines, it promotes what we're trying to do is heal ourselves, you know, and use the things that are natural to our own. You know, and relearn our indigenous, like what was there for us. So I mean, taking those kinds of things and incorporating them in slowly is going to give you a little bit of sense of pride, but it's also going to flavor your food and make things more interesting. So
It smells so good. You guys all know what sage smells like. Add it in the
If
mix
you
with some
smudge-
food
Yeah.
flavors. It's like, I don't know, it smells amazing. So where are we at next?
So we're going to go to our mac and cheese here right away, and
Is there a traditional way to make mac and cheese?
no, that's totally.
Besides making the sound there.
I knew you were gonna
Traditional.
say that. I knew it.
So we're gonna pull some of this stuff together and get rid of some of this that we don't need. So keep talking, Nathan.
I'm actually
So
at a
let's
loss
try-
for words right now because I'm just thirsty for what.
You're
So-
hot.
It is very hot.
If you guys kind of want to see whatever a new show or not a new show, a different kind of podcast, if you guys have any ideas, inbox the page, let me know. If you do want to be on my show, I have an appointment calendar there, and it's set up for Mondays, Thursdays, and I think Saturdays or Sundays. You just go in there and make an appointment, and if I can make it that day, I'll set it up, and you guys can come on the podcast. I do podcasts out of Saskatoon at the FSN building. When I do it on Mondays or Thursdays, I do come in from Red Pheasant where I live during the week because I do work during the week at my reserve at my school. If Kari starts kicking in with her podcast, with the teacher one,
I will.
we don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I'm hoping to do more cooking shows. Definitely excited for that Bannock one. That's going to be fun, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see. Having fun here with Kari, Glenna, having a good time.
Yes.
Can't wait to actually eat. Very hungry.
I haven't eaten anything today.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so hungry.
I'm gonna get this going. So with macaroni and cheese, our recipe calls for butter, flour, milk, a little bit of garlic, salt and pepper, and then of course we're gonna jazz it up a little bit with some bacon and jalapenos as well. But you start off again. We're gonna use half a cup of butter, so just gonna slice that off here, and we're gonna melt that.
Is that salted butter, unsalted butter?
This is salted butter.
Does that matter?
It matters for different recipes and things like that. You know, if you have a recipe that adds salt, then I would lessen a little bit just in case you're watching your salt intake. I buy salted butter mostly because I use it in the bannock and I don't have to add a whole bunch, or you know, it tastes good on your toast just like that, right? If you've ever had unsalted butter on your toast and you're waiting for that little salty taste, it's not going to be there. It's totally missing, right? So so I just prefer to use this, but I always reduce the salt that's in a recipe because of that, because there is a good amount of it inside the butter itself.
What's going on here?
Okay. Oh, that's just our ingredients list. So,
how to make macaroni.
Yeah.
Can you turn up the volume while she's doing this?
In case we make mouth sounds again. Yeah. If you want to hear our chewing. Yeah. So anyways, well, I am going to get them to try a macaroni. So, al dente. Take one. And it's not... So it's kind of chewy, you know, like it's not like soft, like, you know, when you twirl your pasta and you put it in your mouth. But you're going to cook this again, so you don't want to cook it all the way through, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to have that little bit of, just shave a few minutes off of the boiling point. To stop the cooking for pasta, you would run cold water or immerse it in cold water, and you can even put this in the fridge in cold water, and you can use it tomorrow or the next day, or if you've made too much. A lot of people say, oh my god, I made so much spaghetti. Put it in some water and put it aside, and you can use it in another dish the next day in a soup or whatever, okay? So you don't have to make all spaghetti, eat it all tonight.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we've pre-made this. There's our macaroni. We have our milk.
So if you're going to make like hangover soup, would you boil your macaroni like to this point and then add it and then boil it again?
Right at the end?
Yeah, so it doesn't get so big and mushy.
There you go, and that's exactly what I do. Even for caterings, I make my macaroni on the side, and because I make hangover soup, that's like one of my top sellers, or one of the things people really enjoy. And I always put it in a baggie or a plastic bag or something, or transport it separately and add it into the soup when it's there, because the soup should of course be hot or whatever, or I add it in the last couple of minutes and just let it stir it in. So
there you go, there's actually an official way to boil macaroni properly. I never knew.
Well, and the other thing is the starch level, right? So I mean, there's a lot of starch that's in there, so it does help thicken your soup. So if you there is a texture thing about it too, right? So you can make it in there if you're going to eat it right away, but if you're not, then I would do this method so that your macaroni doesn't take over all the water and you're ended up with a mac salad, right?
You heard it here first on IOPPS Live. A special way to cook macaroni.
So I added a little bit of olive oil to this before, so it would come apart easily, you know, and because I didn't soak it in any water, but I did stop the cooking process by putting it in cold water, so it wouldn't get mushy and all that kind of stuff sitting and waiting for us to cook it. So this roux that you use for mac and cheese is really easy. Like, you have their salt. You're going to use a little bit of flour. So I know this just in my head is how much butter you use, that's how much flour you're going to use. So I have half a cup of butter melting, and I'm going to use half a cup of flour. So depending on the size, like if you were just making a meal for like yourself or two of you, then I would just use 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of flour, some salt and pepper inside the roux. So I'm melting this, and these roux are real easy. Like it's usually the basis of any kind of cream soups or thickening, like your bullet soup and all that kind of stuff.
Bullet soup.
Yeah, when you make bullet soup, you know, and you want to thicken it. Meatball soup?
I don't think Nathan cooks.
I don't cook.
He's like, what?
Well, I make chicken, and I make
smoothies. I see the smoothie stuff.
Yeah, my roommate cooks. He's a wicked cook, man. Yeah, like I just put out chicken and fry it. And
Like KFC chicken?
no, I actually cook chicken. Like that's the only thing I can cook. I can cook. I actually, you know what?
Okay,
I put
well,
my
we're gonna
mind
do
to
a
it.
cooking show with you cooking next.
All right, legit.
Well, this is why you're probably interested in the cooking shows, is
I am.
because you want to learn how to do these things, right?
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do one at my house, and I'm gonna do a smoothie one, and I'm gonna show you how to cook grilled cheese.
So again, I have half a cup of butter, and I'm going to use half a cup of flour. I'm going to put some salt and pepper inside with my.
So what are we making again?
We're making macaroni and
Mac and
cheese. So
That's
there's.
special.
Well,
special
it's
mac.
added, right? And this is
Yeah.
like traditional mac and cheese.
Tradish mac and cheese. You know what? That's going to be a good show to do. I'm going to do a show about smoothies, all the different ways you can make healthy smoothies.
That would be awesome, yeah.
Right? Because
So
everyone's into
slide
this
over
health
just
kick,
a
right?
little bit, and then we'll be able to show them. So the butter is pretty hot here. Then I have my flour, and I put some salt. I didn't have any pepper. It's
Camera's down there.
oh, it is okay. Good. So here we go.